Now look, here's the thing, guys. Every single one of us have been inside of this industry for quite some time, but we know that we are always a student. We are always a student. We're here to learn, we're here to grow, and we're here to replicate what it is that we've been taught and what it is that we've been told. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, each and every single one of us have studied this man for quite some time. Just because you study, to know and not do is to not what? Know it all. So with that being said, I need to see all notepads out. Notepads up, notepads up, notepads up. Note takers are what? So with that being said, guys, I promise y'all, you guys are in for something that's going to take you guys next level. You guys are in for something that is going to help you guys duplicate your organization. He just hit us with a bunch of questions. He thoroughly understands what it is that we're going on. And you know for a fact he is no stranger to this industry. So I want you guys paying attention. I want you guys, no side conversation. I want you guys engaged. I want you guys excited. And I want you guys to have fun. Let's give it up for none other than Jordan Belfort.
Everybody good? Yeah. All right, guys, have some fun. Let's learn some stuff. I just want you guys to understand one thing, guys. Filters, just listen. You know, I got a couple of hours here, right, to get you guys to the next level. And just remember this. You know, when it comes to making money, it's always about what's the next level. It's always like a leveling up. And you can't say to myself, you know, I want to be a billionaire. I want to make 10 million next year. That's great, everything next money, right? But at this point in your lives where you are right now, I know you guys are making, some guys are making 10 grand a month, some guys are making $250,000 a month, right? But the idea is that wherever you are right now, there's like one level above where you're at that is really easy to get to. It's like just the next level up, right? And then from there, the next level up from there is typically easy to get to. It's hard to make, like, let me be honest, every once in a while, you crack the code for something and you make this monumental leap in income where you go from making to, you know, 10,000 a month to 3 million a month. That happens very rarely in life. It's happened to me sometimes where I've been doing things a certain way and I make one little shift and suddenly it's the doors go blowing off, right? But that's the exception to the rule when it comes to making money. Most of the time, it's about like this sort of slow, incremental, grinding it out day to day. And I'll take a grinder any day of the week than somebody who's out there just trying to smack home runs with some newfangled way. Like, I got the newest way to, guys, I know you're doing it this way, but you got to do it that way. And that's mostly bullshit. Every once in a while, some crazy new idea how to go out and bring in more traffic, or do this, it works. But for the most part, if you want to assure your own success, seriously, if you want to assure your success, it's about doing what you're already doing. Oh, there you go, buddy. No volume, please, guys. About doing what you're already doing, but just doing it a little bit better and also working harder. 95% of this is hard work, guys. It's stick-to-itiveness. Now, the problem is with a lot of people is that your brains are really smart. Your brain knows when you're wasting your time and when you're not wasting your time. So what happens is, unless you really skill yourself up and you get yourself into the position where you say, you know what? I am so good at explaining this idea to people. I'm so good at selling the concept of why it makes sense to sign up for this program. I'm so good at that. Get me in front of fucking anybody and I will close them.
Yes, sir.
Once you're in that point of certainty, then no, well, here's what happens. You'll start working harder because you know that it's only a numbers game. I can't stress this enough. There's two parts to success when it comes to selling. One of them is sheer hard work. How many people are you going to get yourself in front of every single day to make a pitch to? That's it. Sales is a numbers game, and don't let anybody ever tell you different. Sales is numbers. You could have the greatest opportunity, the greatest product in the world, and if you speak to 5 people a day, okay, you're going to get X result. And if you speak to 500 people a day, you're going to get about 100. And that might be an X result. In other words, the number, the actual multiplier effect of speaking to people is real. It's just the bottom. It is, guys. But, and here's the magic though, is that your brain will not let you put in the amount of hours that would be necessary. There's so much, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's fucking hard work. It's not always fun getting rejected. It's not. It's fucking worth it. It's fucking worth it. Let me tell you that. But it's only worth it if you take the time to skill yourself up and turn yourself into a fucking closer. Because then you'll know that if I actually do the work, I make all these calls, I'm going to get the result. Because I couldn't imagine, like, for myself, here's the thing, guys. When I am thinking about whether or not to take action, should I do something, should I not do something, right? In my mind, what do? I run the movie. I say, all right, if I do all this, I take all the risk, invest my money, work hard, do all the stuff, maybe maybe it'll work out good, maybe but when I play the movie out, here's what I always say to myself. If it's possible to make it work, I'll make it work. It won't be me. It won't be a lack of ability or skill that stops me from succeeding. That doesn't mean it's going to work. In other words, sometimes shit doesn't work. Shit doesn't always work. But I know that if it doesn't work, it wasn't because I suck loose cock, basically. I suck. And let me just tell you, this is a huge point, guys, because what you need to do is skill the fuck up. You got to get so good at explaining this idea to people, because once you're so great at closing, your brain will say to you, you know what? All I got to do is speak to the people I got to speak to in massive numbers, and I know, put me in front of anybody, and I will close anyone who's what? Closable. Those are the words you have to say to yourself. If you put me in front of people, I will close anyone who's closable. The highest level of straight line proficiency is being able to close anyone who's closable. Now, let me tell you what that means. That does not mean you close everybody. It doesn't mean that. What it does mean is that when you pitch someone and at the end they don't buy from you, you don't walk away saying, damn, if JB was there, he would have closed them. Or if my mentor was there, he would have closed them, but I fucked it up. See, if you leave a sale saying, damn, I blew that. It was me. It was, I can't, even when I got a qualified buyer, it was me that didn't close the deal because I wasn't good enough. If you're thinking that, even this much of a seed of a doubt that it's you, then what happens is your brain says, you know what? Why the fuck should I do all the work? Why should I spend all the time, the money, the rejection? And rejection's not fun. I'm going to show you different ways to reframe it and make it slide off your back. We become experts as professional salespeople, and make no mistake, you got to be a professional salesperson. Look at yourself like that. You guys are two things. You're professional salespeople and you're entrepreneurs. You're both. And anybody who's a great salesperson who's not thinking they're also an entrepreneur or vice versa is missing the fucking point. If you're an entrepreneur, you gotta be an expert closer because you gotta close people on lots of different things, not just buying your product. You gotta close people on joining your organization. You know, one of the biggest things that my biggest attributes of my whole life, cut certain things off, please, is my ability to attract talented people to come work with me. And I say not work for me, I say work with me. My employees don't work for me, they work alongside me, and I make sure everybody has a chance to get a piece of the pie. No matter how smart you are or think you are, you can't do it alone. And especially in an organization like this, which is it's based around strength in numbers, right? As an entrepreneur, what we're doing is we're closing people on our vision for the future and the vision for their future. A better life, more money, more freedom. And remember, what does money mean? Money equals what? Freedom. Do what? Whatever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want, as much as the fuck you want, with whomever the fuck you want. Right? Most people don't live that life. You guys aware, you probably are, you're still young, you might remember, maybe you're still kind of in one foot in, that one foot out. Most people live really disempowered lives. They get almost brainwashed and dumbed down or sheepified, okay, where they're almost going through life like drones. They're barely living. They're living like 10-watt light bulbs, barely burning. And I would always say, I'm going to burn like 100-watt. I'd rather burn out and die quick than live 10 watts my whole life and never really live at all. Right? That's the point. But just remember what you're up against. When you're out there speaking to people who have not yet made the shift into the mindset you have, you're dealing with a certain inertia. It's a word that we usually heard when we were growing up in high school and college. Inertia about physics. What does inertia mean, guys? Inertia means that an object at rest will tend to stay at rest. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. Right. There's momentum. Momentum means it's going and continues to go based on the speed and force it already has. Inertia means it's stationary and it requires what to get it going? Force, a push. It requires a push. What we're doing as professional salesperson is we are applying the force, the push, to get someone to move off the mark from a state of inertia, from a state of rest, to a state of taking action. That's what we're really doing. And it's also what you're doing to yourself every single day. Selling yourself on the importance of getting out of bed each morning and taking fucking action and doing what you know you have to be doing. Let me tell you so much of this, and you're all young, and I love that. I wish I was as young as you guys, okay? That was fucking wild when I was your age. No idea what I was capable of. I know. I'm young at heart, but I used to go out there partying like a rock star 6 nights a week. And we had a saying back in the day, if you want to go out with the boys, you're going to wake up with the men. And we did it every fucking day. Okay? No matter how much we party, we're out working. The next day, 7 a.m., banging away in those phones for 12 more hours and then partying again until we drop. Okay? But the bottom line is that as you start to get older and into the business world, you're going to find that so much of success for you as individuals is getting yourself to do the things that you know you have to be doing every single day, even when you don't feel like fucking doing them. Let me repeat that. Success, a lot of your success, once you master the things like skill, and that's the easy part, guys. Come on, the skill, I've laid a lot of it out for you on a silver platter with a straight line. I'm here to reinforce it, but at the end of the day, so much of your success is to get yourself on a consistent basis, not every once in a while, I'm talking consistently, day after day after, to get yourself to do the shit you know you gotta do, even when you don't feel like doing it, and even when you don't like it. Some people love to get on the phone and close, but they don't like prospecting. A lot of people. Other people I know love fucking prospecting. They don't want to close. Right? They call the lead generators. We turn them into lead generators, right? There's a purpose for these people. And how much money they make? Not that much. Who makes money in this world? Fucking who? Closers. The closers make the money. But in truth, especially when you're getting started, you're moving up in the world, there's to get to that point. So watch, every sale has a cycle, right? When I first invented the straight line, the concept was, fucking mess. God, thank God for that. Need the sugar, why not, right? Sugar rush is good, right? The coronavirus is scamming me, by the way. No, because a virus needs a hospitable environment to grow in. My body, so look at me, I'm not going in that guy's body. I'll just die of toxicity, right? Anyway, side note, right? When I invented the straight line, he was the concept of, guys, watch. I said, every sale is the same. Watch, this is your open where the sale begins, and this is your close when the client says, yeah, let's do it. Right? That's the concept. There's an open here and there's a close, right? And all along the way, right, you have these stopping off points, right? One stopping off point, I always teach you the first 4 seconds of the encounter. How are you perceived in those first 4 seconds? And let me just tell you something. It's everything. If you are perceived the wrong way in the first 4 seconds, you're basically done. You can't close anybody. If you perceive the right way, it opens up a universe of possibility. It doesn't make you close the sale. So what I'm not saying is I want you to be perceived a certain way, do that and you're done. No. What I'm saying is that by being perceived a certain way, it opens up the possibility to close. Why? Because here's the deal. At the essence of all effective communication and closing, once you learn how to control the sale, control the encounter, you'll be shocked at how easy influencing and closing becomes. Once you learn how to take control of the encounter. Why? Very simply, because once you control the encounter, you can now start doing certain things in a certain uniform way every time. If you're in control, imagine like someone says, hey, go put together this fucking jigsaw puzzle, right? And there's 1,000 pieces, all right? And you're like, where the fuck do I start now, right? But what if every piece had a number? This piece goes first, this easier, right? Yeah, it becomes very easy, right? What I did with the straight line system is there are many different ways to go about trying to close a sale, right? In fact, at the end of the day, what it turned out is that there are these certain core elements that must line up in someone else's mind. See, what I realized, and let me just go back a step. Let me tell you what happened. This is gonna really help you guys understand how the straight line started and why it works and how to apply it. It's a great story. So I stumbled upon an untapped niche in the stock market, which was selling $5 stocks to the richest 1%. For whatever reason, no one had ever tried that before. And when I tested the idea myself with my junior partner, the Jonah Hill character, right? The results that we got, right? Fucking wild, man. He did marry his first cousin, by the way. Let me just give you one lesson. Don't marry your first fucking cousin.
Write that down.
That's the first lesson. Don't marry your first cousin. Stick with your second cousin, at least, right? Yeah. He was as crazy as a movie, by the way. When I first, I was kidding. I said, I heard this rumor there, and he's like, what? I'm like, I don't want to go. So tell me. I'm like, well, I heard this rumor that, like, that you and Nancy, like that. He's what? Tell me. You guys are like first cousins. He's like, yeah, it's true. Oh, I go, okay. He's like, no, it wasn't really. It's not like that. I didn't even know whatever. Like, I met her when she was young, and kind of didn't see her for like 10 years, and she kind of grew up really hot. And then, like, I saw her, and she was fucking hot as hell, and my friends wanted to fuck her. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna let my friends fuck her. That'll be disrespectful. So I think I'm gonna fuck her versus my friends. So I pulled the whole cousin thing on her, and then that was that. I'm like, holy shit, this guy, like, he's like it so nonchalantly. And I'm like, what would happen? Wow, the kids, it's so dangerous. And he's like, yeah. And guys, this is not me saying this. I'm just reciting what happened, okay? We live in different times right now, right? Where you see I'm politically incorrect, and I am politically fucking correct, and I'm proud of it, by the way. But, guys, what if one of your kids is, goes, oh, you're retarded? I'm like, yeah. Just move to an institution. I'm like, oh, fucking God. Because I wouldn't. I just let him free, go run free. He really said this shit, Danny. He really said this stuff, right? But he was an amazing soldier, and he was the first person that I taught the straight line. And what happened was Danny was a natural-born closer like me. I'm a natural-born closer, guys. From the first second I ever started selling, it was just I broke every record, and I intuitively knew what to say, when to say it, how to say it, the order in which to say it. It just came easy to me, right? And then I passed that knowledge along to Danny, and I built a firm of about 12 or 13 guys, very young, average age 18, 19 years old, right? These were not kids who were members of the Lucky Sperm Club, so to speak, right? These were the forgotten sons and daughters of Long Island. They were kids that never went to the Ivy League school, okay? No Ivy League diplomas among them, okay? They barely clawed out of high school. Average IQ Forrest Gump on 3 hits of fucking acid. You get it? It was not the deep end of the intellectual gene pool, right? And I taught them how to sell penny stocks to average moms and pops, right? That's what my firm was about. I employed 13 people, and they were doing well. In fact, they were making almost exactly what a lot of you guys are doing, 10, 12,000 a month. And that was great, especially back in 1988. That was really great, right? It's a lot of money. It's like 30,000, but now they were doing great. These kids, the kids that would have worked in 7-Eleven if it wasn't for this, right? And they make it 10 grand a month. Then one day, let me repeat, I was selling penny stocks, 10-cent stocks to average moms and pops, no net worth, right? One day I had this idea. So wait a second, I want to call the richest 1%. And I stumble upon this niche of selling $5 stocks to the rich. The average trade for a mom or pop was about $500 to $1,000, and the commission was $500. That was a big trade, right? The first ticket, the first trade that we did, we were testing the idea, and Danny actually got the first ticket. We were both calling this to get a first connect. The first person he called bought $120,000 worth of the stock and apologized for working so small. And my commission on that was $80,000. I made $80,000, guys, in a minute. And in that moment, I knew. It was like my heart, that was one of those moments where I was like, whoa, that was the gap moment. I found a new way of who you would call and what you would sell. And I was like, fuck, it would have taken me a month to have a broker earn 80,000 or 3 months. Danny did it in a minute, all right? And in that moment, I knew. And I remember looking out into the boardroom at my 12 nincompoops, right? And they were banging away calling moms and pops. I said, wow. I said, all I have to do is teach these 12 kids how to now sell to rich people, and the rest, as they say, will be history. I remember this moment like it was yesterday. It was November of 1988, a Tuesday, right? And they also say, unfortunately, easier said than fucking done. Here's what happened. As it turned out, trying to sell $5 stocks to the richest 1% of Americans when you're an unsophisticated teenager working at a firm no one ever heard before wasn't just difficult, it was fucking impossible. Impossible. After 1 month of trying to get these 12 kids to close. They hadn't opened up a single account, hadn't earned a single dollar in commission in 4 weeks of cold calling 300 times a day. 300 calls a day. If you didn't make 300 calls a day on my firm, you were in trouble. We were banging away in those phones. Like, that was before dialing systems. That was banging away. We were like a fucking, you know, you see the movie The Ten Commandments of Charles Dickens? It's like if you're whipping the fucking, they weren't dialing fast. You had tasks. It was really tough, right? I once thought of installing electric shocks on the fucking seats. I never did that, but I wanted to, right? You gotta type through it. Okay? Anyway, so I had this moment, and I'm shocked. A month later, they hadn't closed one account. But meanwhile, Danny and I, calling the same exact leads they were calling. It was a list of the wealthiest 1% of Americans, all business owners with over $10 million in sales in their companies, right? Big list, million people. I was closing 50% of the people that I get on the phone. 50%. Danny was closing over 30%. We're calling the same people, pitching the same stock, using the same script. I'm at 50, Danny's at 32, they're at 0. How is that possible? Like, how, I was so fucking baffled by this. Meanwhile, I was giving 2 meetings a day, 2 sales training sessions and motivation every day. 30, 40 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes to an hour at night. 8:30, 9:30 for the market open, 4:30 to 5:30. Get it every day, twice a day. No matter what I said, nothing worked. I couldn't get these kids to close, right? I started reading every book out there on sales, influence, and there was no internet back then, so it was going to the library, going to the bookstore. I even flew across the country to a seminar in California that purportedly had the top sales trainers, right? And I went there, and I quickly realized, after hearing them, that the system I was teaching back then, and here's the deal, guys, I had a system. The system did not have a name, but I had a system, a way of teaching people how to sell. And the system I had been teaching before the straight line, it was light years ahead of what these nincompoops were teaching on stage. And if my system wasn't working and their system was worse, what was I going to do? I was stuck. That's what happened. That's how the whole straight line system came about. So what happens with the system, guys, like right now, and the reason this is important for you guys is you guys are selling a system. Now, there's actually multiple things going on here. There's number one, you're selling the system that allows people to what? Trade and make money. That's one discrete element. That's part of the product that you're selling. You're selling people a way of making money by semi-automated trading using algorithms that have been proven to work over time that spot aberrations in the market and allow people to enter and exit in a virtually riskless way and make significant returns over time. That's what you do, right? That's part of what you do. What you're also doing is you're giving people a simple, easy way of learning enough about the market so they have enough context to now use this system at the highest level. Because if I just handed you all these algorithms and said, follow it, you know what you would do? You couldn't. You need to have a certain amount of knowledge, industry-specific knowledge and lingo and understanding of how markets work, why things are, why these algorithms will work. You don't need to, listen, you don't have to, remember, turning a light switch, you don't know how the fucking electricity works. Who knows? No one knows, right? But you know, if you flick it on, the light goes on. That's enough to use it, right? But there's a little bit more required when it comes to trading, because if you don't know enough terminology, enough market understanding, you're not going to use the system. So not only are you selling them a proven way of making money, but you're also selling them a proven way, a step-by-step, paint-by-number system for learning about the market. So they can now utilize the algorithms and the actual trading strategies at the highest level without screwing up. That's also what you're offering, right? And in addition, you're also offering them what? an opportunity to make additional money by sharing that knowledge and that wisdom and that money-making capability and educational opportunity with whom? Their friends and acquaintances and family members. You're allowing them to spread the wealth around, because when it comes to the market, there is no zero-sum game. If you can make and they can make, it doesn't hurt you. In other words, they can keep making, the markets are so vast, there's so much liquidity. It's not like if you tell someone they trade alongside you, you make less. No, you make the same amount of money. It doesn't matter. So you have the ability now to share this knowledge with your friends and family and those that you care about, and those your acquaintances as well. Get them involved, and you can make additional money on that as well. So those are three things that are going on, right? Well, each of those requires a system. In the case of the algorithm, well, guess what? The system has been handed to you on a silver fucking platter. These guys have figured it out over time and research, and by hiring some very smart people, top Wall Street traders, people who traded for the biggest banks on Wall Street, you know this stuff cold. They've been able now to use the most powerful supercomputers and so forth to create these algorithms that allow the average person to now make money the way it was normally reserved for the big money center banks. This stuff could not have been done by average people 10 years ago. Why? The computers did not have enough power. You could not sit, this opportunity simply did not exist. Suddenly now, simply a function of two things. A, computing speed and bandwidth allows the opportunity you guys have to exist. I couldn't have done this. In my day and age, this did not exist. In 2003, this did not exist. The computers were not fast enough, meaning the memory wasn't sufficient to really run algorithms and compete with the big boys. Because the big boys had mainframes and high-frequency computers on the floor of the exchange. You guys have seen the movie The Hummingbird Project, where like a millionth of a second was the difference. They had, that doesn't matter anymore. Because today, technology has leveled the playing field like it never has before. Just so you know, guys, I'm giving you language patterns for your customers right now. And we realize what I'm doing. I'm over-explaining this for a reason. So you can start using this stuff to close people. It's just, so I'm over-explaining for a reason, all right? But that's what's really going on right now. You have an opportunity that's incredibly timely. It didn't exist a short time ago. That's why companies like Robinhood have become the single biggest growth companies out there, that's dwarfing any story. It was just an article in Barron saying nothing has ever competed with Robinhood. Why? Because in the past, the technology and the trading, the bandwidth, the speed didn't exist. It couldn't exist. It wasn't there. So you are, just by sometimes sheer dumb luck, in the right place at the right time and poised to make tons of money as a result of that. Sometimes, you know, we have a saying, a rising tide lifts all ships. Okay? And you're in an industry right now where simply the tide is rising. You can almost spit out there and you'll throw a dart and make money. But when you combine that sort of upward momentum with this incredible surge now, all individual investors pouring into the market, combine that with the algorithms you guys have in the trading technology and the educational component that gives you both the inner game mindset to be able to trade correctly. It gives you the knowledge to understand what you should be doing, how to interpret the data. It also gives you an incredible group support here, which is equally important. Be part of a team here. Trading as a team, being supported by a team, because trading can be a lonely business otherwise, and your worst instincts will eat you alive every fucking time. One of the true views about what we offer people here is because of all the group support, because of all this togetherness here, it prevents you from making these classic mistakes that every lone horse individual trader eventually makes. You know what they do? They go off the fucking reservation. They don't listen to the algorithms. They think they're smarter or better. They place a bigger bet. They start chasing losers. And before you know it, everything they made by sticking to the system is lost by one bad trade. Happens all the time. All the time. You stop people, or at least create this massive prophylactic system for stopping people from going off the reservation. Because there's support, there's a network, there's a group, and there is strength in numbers, especially when it comes to the emotional side of trading. I just paid a lot of money by a company called Raging Bull. You guys know Raging Bull? Okay, you'll probably see it come out. It's coming out in the next couple of weeks. I give them a product. And the product is simply on the inner game of trading. It's not about which stocks to pick. I didn't want to get involved. I'll just, God knows the fucking regulars will go crazy on it. I'd say, well, pick that. They'll be searching my Swiss bank accounts. What he must have insight. Yeah. So, but what I did is I created a very, very powerful system that had nothing to do with trading. It was mindset trading. How do you actually go about trading and not blow yourself up because of your own worst instincts? So one of the great things this company does is it offers a safe, supportive, collaborative environment for people to get in there, to get educated, have access to the best technology out there, and slowly but surely pyramid their wealth so they can get to the point where they have financial freedom. And at the same time, make even more money and make even fuck you money by getting a lot of other people involved to do the same. What could be better than that? You know, if I was going to tell you, listen, I want you to quit your current job, stop everything you're doing right now, and I want you to give me a few $100 and then take the next 2 months to perfect this thing, and I promise you it'll work. You know what I'd say? Go fuck yourself. I can't afford. I got a family, I got expenses, I got bills to pay, I got a car. I can't do that. That would be a big ask, wouldn't it? Stop everything you're doing right now and do this only. That's a big ask. Some would do it, most wouldn't, and they mostly be smart. But if I'm telling you that you don't have to stop doing anything you're currently, you can keep your safety net going right now, at least over the short term, and do this on the side and start making money like all my other people in my company have. We all start the same way. We had other jobs. We were on that fucking hamster wheel like a fucking gerbil in a spinning wheel, going round and round, barely paying the bills, not getting anywhere fast, but you get caught up because you have expenses. You have life. You have the realities of life. Now, you guys are mostly young. As you get older, those realities become really, really serious, and the consequences of making a mistake could be destructive, really destructive. So when you speak to people in their 30s and their 40s who have families, the beauty of this situation is it's riskless. It literally is riskless, meaning you don't have to stop doing what you're doing to dip your toe in the water and get your feet wet and start making money. I don't care what level. If you start trading with $10, that's fine. Whatever the minimum is, that's not the point. But what you'll see is a percentage return on your money, and you'll see how powerful this could be. And you'll invest a bit more. And suddenly you'll notice, whoa, you know, you got a few $1,000s in your account. And now the returns get bigger. And you get so confident, like, wow, I got to tell my friend Jimmy about that. And he starts doing it too. And guess what? Now you're making money on Jimmy's account. Before you know it, 6 months down the road, you're making more money from this once part-time 15 minutes a day job than you ever made in your life. And you say to your boss, go fuck yourself. Let's go. And live my life on my terms. That's the beauty of this, guys. It's the perfect solution for the person that's stuck on a rut, on the treadmill of life. And most people are like that. They get caught up in the daily grind and they develop what? Inertia. Inertia. They're going in a certain direction, and that direction is to go either way out is inertia. How do you overcome inertia? What's the antidote to inertia? Certainty. Certainty. If I get someone absolutely, positively certain that this program works and will make them money, absolutely certain, guess what happens? The inertia starts to become overpowered by the certainty. Every human being has something called an action threshold. For those of you who study the straight line more than others, the action threshold represents, we write down, guys, the action threshold represents the level of certainty, that any particular human being, meaning everyone's different, it's the level of certainty that a human being needs to be at before they feel comfortable enough to take action. Meaning, action means break through the inertia. They're sitting in a certain place before they're comfortable enough to break through that and take action. We call that an action threshold. And every human being has one. Now, I will repeat it one more time and then dig deeper. The action threshold, I'll say it once, ready, is the level of certainty that a person needs to be at before they feel comfortable enough to take action. Now, I personally have what's called a low action threshold. My action threshold is about as low as they come. That means I'm basically a sucker. I am. I'm the easiest person to sell to in the world. And a lot of great salespeople are. By our natures, we just love to buy shit. I'm easy to sell to, right? See, imagine a continuum of certainty, right? We have number one, a continuum is a fancy word for a line. A continuum of certainty, right? 1, 10. 10 means someone is absolutely, positively certain that this is the best idea, the best investment since sliced bread. It's just fucking unbelievable. It's like almost as close to a guarantee as you can get. That's a 10. And a 1 would be, that's the biggest piece of shit in the world. It's a doggone dog loser. It's a dog with fleas. Never gonna work. Piece of shit system. You lose your money. So if I was to ask, watch, here's how it sounds. If I was to say to a client, someone's about, I want them to buy. I say, hey, Jim, so tell me, honestly, what do you think of the system? They say to me, oh my God, that's the greatest system now. It's amazing. It's perfect. It makes sense. It's a great value proposition. The price is fair. Cost-benefit ratio. It's elegant. It's simple. It's turnkey. I love it. That's what someone at a 10 on the scale of certainty sounds like. That makes sense? Yes? Yeah. Great. I say to someone, hey, what do you think of the system? That's the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. That is so awful, by the way. It's fucking will never make, I'm sure it'll never make money. It's ugly, it's complicated, it's fucking, you're probably, enter my money, it's probably gonna steal my fucking money outright, or at least take my credit card information. That thing sucks. It is the worst system in the world. That's a 1, right? So, where do you want your prospect to be when you ask them to buy? Where? As close to a 10 as possible, right? Our goal when we ask someone to buy from us, we want them to be as close to a 10 as possible, or at a 10. Not always possible to get someone to a 10, because 10 represents absolute conviction. And conviction means it's an unwavering conviction that you're right. And that sometimes takes time. It's a repeated message over and over. It becomes a conviction. But you can get something like a 9.8, 9.9. That's enough. Pretty much, right? So it's just about there, right? So our goal, so look at it this way. As you move someone down a straight line, from the open to the close, when you ask for the order, let's just say it's right here, ask for the order, your goal as a salesperson, everything you say, everything you do, everything you've said and done, every document you've had, every Zoom call you've made, every sample thing you've shown them and said, everything has been designed, every testimonial you've given them, it's all been designed to increase their level of certainty to as close to a 10 as possible, because if they are, when you ask for the order, you have the best chance of closing them. Does that make sense? Yes? Great. Let me ask you a question. And it's a very important question. Where are they on the certainty scale when they enter the encounter? Meaning, when you call someone on the phone and say, hey, buddy, how you doing? Okay, I just got this opportunity. I want to take that a minute. They say, yeah, okay. Well, I'm involved in this. And you start just telling them about what you're doing. Doesn't matter what you say, but that you explain, where are they on the certainty scale when you start? Where? Who fucking knows? Unless some of you guys are Kreskin the fucking mind reader, how could you possibly know where they are? But here's the truth. The truth is you do know. You know what you know? They're somewhere. They're somewhere. You know why? Because they're from planet fucking Earth. They live here. The second they know about what you're saying, their brain will take everything they've ever said, heard, done, experienced, every predisposed to them, their prejudices, something their mommy or dad told them for their 5 years old. Don't trust the salesperson. The market's only fair. Everything they've ever said, heard, done, experienced firsthand or at a distance. All of that stuff, their brain instantly tabulates all those memories, and their gut goes, here's how I feel about this conversation. And they immediately land somewhere on the certainty scale. Just where, you don't fucking know. Now, we can get some ideas based on what? Well, what we're selling. For example, if you're selling a product that in the collective public consciousness, let's say iPhones, say you're selling some iPhones, and that's your product, well, chances are better than not that people are going to skew to be much higher on the surface. So the bulk will land over here. Why? Very strong brand recognition, lots of social groups. You understand? In the public conscious, you know, iPhones is known as a very, very positive, great product. If you were selling, investing in swampland in Dominican Republic, where are people going to land? Mostly about a 1, 2, or 3. Why? Because we've all heard funny, even chuckle when you hear it, as soon as you hear that. But guess what? You want to hear the crazy part? I have friends, I've coached them, they're selling fucking swampland in the Dominican Republic, and they make billions doing it. They make money doing it all the time. And guess what? Sometimes that swampland is amazingly priced. It's the best investment in the world. Where someone lands on the certainty scale is not a reflection of what's a good or bad idea. It's a reflection of their prejudices and past experiences about that particular industry and product as a whole. If you're selling vacation sales, like vacation timeshares, people are going to enter into 2 or 3 because they've heard so much negative stuff about it. If you're selling a home investment to flipping a home, they might, flipping homes, Intuitively, we just consider, most of us will say, wow, I heard people make money doing that. Now, obviously, everyone's different. If you got someone that got scammed by a home flipping company, guess what? They're going to be much lower. Yeah. So you don't really ever know. But you know they're somewhere, and that's important. You know why? Because what it does, it creates context of what your job as a salesperson is. What your job is simple. It's really fucking simple. What you're doing when you sell, when you close. Sales is the transference of emotion. Sales is a transference of emotion. And the primary emotion you're transferring is what? Certainty. You're transferring certainty. So what you're doing is, you know that someone enters the encounter, they're going to be somewhere. Your job, everything that you say, every word that escapes your mouth, every bit of body language, your eye contact, the way you shake, everything is designed to move them from wherever they happen to enter on the scale. And it's perfectly okay if they enter it too. That's not your fault. So don't let that mislead you, because sometimes people might hear network marketing and they enter lower. Okay? If your position is education, they enter higher. But the point of it doesn't matter. All that serves as a starting point. It's a starting point from which you get paid to do your job, which is to say things, show them things, make demonstrations, say things with a certain tonality, but all designed to increase their certainty as high as possible. So when you're asking for the order, you want to be as close to a 10 as possible. Make sense? Yeah. That's your job. So let's say you do that. Let's say you succeed. Let's say you do the work. And when I say do the work, meaning you put the time in beforehand that you know what you're going to say before you say it. Guys, there's many, many ways to sell what you're selling. There are many ways. There's an infinite number of ways to sell your product. But only one is the best. There's a best way. There's one best way to explain what you do. We call that the truth well told. You don't have to lie. You don't want to exaggerate. You don't want to promise things you can't deliver, but what you want to do is explain things, giving the absolute positive, best, most compelling version of the truth. There's always a best way to explain something. There's a best way to open a conversation. You got 4 seconds to be perceived a certain way. I'll get back to that in a minute. So there's many ways you can open up a conversation, many things you could say, many tonalities you can use, many different types of bodies that you can wear. There's one that's going to be the best of all. That's going to accomplish what you want to accomplish. And just so you know, if any of you say, now 4 seconds, Jordan, I don't know. You know, my mother told me not to judge books by their covers. Right, I've heard that one too. Yeah, my mother told me, don't judge a book by its cover. So my school teachers, guess what? They did, and so do I. And so do you. We all judge books by their covers. It's a human response. We are fear-based creatures. It's wired into our reptilian brains. We see people, we instantly take them, we pull apart, we analyze each piece, we put them back together based on how they're perceived. If they're perceived a certain way, meaning you're perceived the right way, which is number one, being sharp as a tack. That you're sharp. You're sharp, you're on the ball. Number one, you're sharp. Number two, enthusiastic as hell. Enthusiastic, meaning what you have must be good. And number three, and most important of all, an expert in your field. A figure of authority, sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, an expert in your field. You got 4 seconds to be perceived as those 3 things. Sharp, meaning I'm on the ball. I'm a born problem solver. I'm not going to waste your time or mine. Number 2, I'm enthusiastic. What I have, it must be good. Why else would I be so enthusiastic? But I'm not talking about that bullshit, disingenuous, over-the-top enthusiasm. Like, oh my God, not that fucking nonsense. I don't mean like that shit. That's actually repulsive, okay? I'm talking about a different type of enthusiasm. It's called bottled enthusiasm. Bottled enthusiasm sits just below the surface. You're like a seething volcano, ready to erupt, but you don't erupt because you're in control, because you're an expert. They can sense you could be whispering a certain way and think, oh, what's this guy? He's serious. I could be whispering. People say, damn, this guy's good. Holy shit. Because there's a force behind my words. It's not a yell. I can be talking slowly with power. So it's not a whisper, it's a secret. It's a power whisper. It's a certain way of speaking, absolute enthusiasm, certainty, right? And when you speak like that, people say, wow, I want to listen to find out what's going on here. And most important of all, an expert in your field. We have been conditioned since we're yay big to seek out experts to solve our problems and help us eliminate our pain. When you are perceived as being number 1, sharp as a tack, number 2, enthusiastic as hell, 3, an expert in your field, some very important things happen. Make or break things happen. Number 1, what this chunks up to is they say to themselves, this is a person worth listening to. It's worth taking my time out of my busy day or my dull, shitty day to listen to this person. They sound worthy of my time. And again, what that chunks up to at a higher level still is they can help me achieve my goals. They can help me get what I want. They can help me solve the pains I have. Help me get what I need. sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, an expert in your field, chunks up to A, you're a person worth listening to because you can help them achieve their goals. In this case, financial freedom, so they can have the time to do what they want, whenever they want, as much as they want, wherever they want, whatever the fuck they want, right? Sharp as a tack, enthusiastic, an expert in their field, chunks up to that, and since we're yay big, we have been conditioned to not only seek out experts, but to defer to them when we're in the presence of experts. And herein lies the magic. This is the magic, guys. When you are perceived as being a true expert in your field, people naturally defer to you. They allow you to take control of the encounter, which in this case is a sales encounter, meaning they allow you to control the sale. And once that is allowed, once you have the ability to control the sale, guess what happens? Well, here's how it all started. I looked at the Strattonites that first night after trying to teach them everything. They couldn't close. And I looked at them at sheer frustration. Guys, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm closing 50%. I'm making $2 million a month right now. Daddy's making $1 million a month. I'm doing it. Why can't you do it? And you know what they said to me? They said, there's so many objections. There's 1,000 objections. I said, really? 1,000? He said, there's 1,000 objections. And another guy says, yeah, there's 1,000 objections. We can't even get our pitch off. They keep interrupting us. They're cutting us off. But yeah, the rich people are assholes. We want to go back to selling poor people. It was much easier. At least they wouldn't cut us off all the time. And he goes, yeah, there's 1,000. I said, really, 1,000? They said, yeah. I said, great. Let's write every fucking one of them down right now. I want to know all 1,000. And my goal that night, just so you know, was to do something called running the wheel. What I would do, I was giving all these training sessions. So my old way of selling, teaching sales, was I had just all the objections to say, go ahead, give it to me, hit me, boom, and I'd show them what I would do. I would give them my rebuttal and show them how I'd close. That was my way of teaching sales in the early days, right? And it was great. It was better than anything out there, right? So that was my goal that night. When I said, let's write them all down, what I thought was going to happen was I was going to write down as many objections as they could think of. And they started, let me think about it, let me call you back, bad time of year. And they got to they were like at 5, with call my bro, I said, guys, it's 5. There's 995 to go. Let's go. I want to hear all 1,000. And on they went, on and on they went, on and on they went. They wrote out all these objections. The whole fucking board was filled with objections, which at the end of the day turned out to be 14 fucking objections. That was it. They ran out at 14. And half of them were repeats of 2. They were, I want to speak to my wife, partner, lawyer, speak to someone else. They were all variations, I want to speak to someone else. And the other group was, it's a bad time of year, as in it's tax time, it's back to school time, it's fucking leap year, it's fucking Groundhog's Day, it's fucking Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, right? And I remember, and I looked at these guys and said, you guys are unfucking believable. You're whining about these 1,000 objections. At the end of the day, there's only 14. Half of them are repeats. But guys, even those don't matter. I mean, don't you guys get it? And then pop, something just came into my mind. And I said these words, which are probably, even to this day, the most profound words I've ever said when it comes to selling. And they've changed millions of lives around the world, including yours, because you use the system. The words I uttered were, guys, don't you get it? Every sale is the same. 5 words, every sale is the same. And they're like, what? I could see by their faces, they weren't getting it. They're like, what do you mean, Jordan? Every sale's not the same. Every sale's different. People have different needs, different values, different pain points. They come into a sale with different life experience. Every sale's not the same. And all that's true. People do have different needs, values, pain points. They say different things, but that's not what I'm talking about. And it's not what I was talking about that night. What I meant that night And what turned out to indeed be the most powerful thing I've ever said, especially with follow next, was I was like, guys, every sale's the same. Watch. And an idea popped in my head, and it was a visual representation of how to explain the sale. And for the first time in my life, it was a Tuesday evening in October 1980. You guys weren't even born yet, believe it or not, right? Most of you. I said, every sales and watch, it's a straight line. And for the first time, I drew this long, thin line across the center of the whiteboard. I put a big, thick X on either end. I said, this is your open where the sale begins, and that's your close where the client says, yes, let's do it. The first time, what I meant that night was that, yes, all those things are true, different needs, values, all that stuff is different. But the same 3 core elements must line up in every prospect's mind before you have any chance of closing them. And even one of them is missing, you got basically no chance of all. And I'll loop back to that in 1 second. That was the night that came out, and what happened over the next 3 hours is I invented this straight line. And it just, all the shit, it opened up an entirely different way. It was a backwards way of looking at the sale. Rather than trying to figure it out going forward, it's like, well, let me go to the end and say, what had to happen here? What happened? What caused this person to say yes? I would have these people, and I go toe to toe, and they'd say, no, no, objection after objection, and then say, all right, fine, I'll do it. What was really happening there? Why was I able to get all these people who were on the fence, as we say, get them to buy? Let me just tell you what sales is not, and this is important. Selling is not about taking people who are not interested and trying to get them to fucking buy. You saw the Grant Cardone interview, right? He's a fucking maniac, the guy. Very embarrassing.
Why are you doing like that?
I know, it's scary, but the guy's fist is something greatly because it showed he was an idiot, right? But the point was, wow, to this day, I could come up with the most profound things. So, hey, got me fished on my comment. To this day, I can't get his funniest thing, right? But the point is, that exposed him as a fraud because it was so obvious. But the point was, is that, and to be clear, as a salesperson, what you're not doing, remember this, please remember this, you're not taking a no and turning it into a yes. It's not what you do. You take, let me think about it, and turn it into a yes. You take, it's a bad time of year, and turn it into a yes. You got to take, let me see to my wife, and turn it into a yes. I'm not liquid right now, and turn it into a yes. I have no time. That's what professional salespeople do. It's the job of marketing, a marketing campaign, which in this case, most of you are responsible for doing yourself. It's called network or relationship marketing. That's marketing. What marketing does is it brings people into your sales funnel, potential buyers. And then it's the job of you as the salesperson to close them. They're distinct functions. Marketing on one side, sales on the other. Remember what you're doing. You gotta do both. Marketing brings people in, sales slams them closed. You've got to perfect the art of doing both because marketing allows you to run that initial numbers game I spoke about of speaking to massive sums of people. So let's say you bring in 100 people into your funnel through some sort of marketing campaign, whether it's that you made a list, you sent out an email list, whatever you did, gave a meeting in a hotel, whatever it might have been in this industry, right? And you get a group of 100 potential buyers. Of those 100 potential buyers, guess what? About 40% just might not be right. They're not meant to be in this offer. Those people need to be eliminated as quickly and elegantly as possible. You don't yell at them, you don't piss them off, you don't alienate them, but you don't waste your time trying to close people, what I call non-buyers. What a real person, a real salesperson, professional does is we take all those people who are sitting on a fence. Let me think about it. Let me call you back. Bad time. All of those people, and we use the straight line to make them absolutely, positively certain, so we close them, to overcome that inertia, to close them. You're not turning no's into yeses. If you try to turn no's into yeses, you know what happens? You start saying to yourself, why the fuck, what's wrong with me? Why can't I close anybody? Maybe I'm not meant to sell. No, I couldn't close them. They're not buyers. But what you don't want to do, and this is where skill comes in, is what you don't want to do is get to that point where, yeah, you can get those 60 potential buyers, but you kind of suck at closing, so you only get the 10%, the easiest ones. We call those, in straight line parlance, we call those laydowns. What I meant when I first drew the straight line that night, and here's what I said to the guys, it's an important one. I said, guys, it's a straight line, watch. And I said, this is your open with sale begins, and this is your close where the client says, yeah, let's do it. I said, every once in a while, when you were selling penny stocks in the good old days, they thought, you get one of those easy, perfect, laid down sales where everything you said, everything you did, the process, yes, 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 it's almost like you were pre-sold before they even entered the encounter. We call that a lay down sale. Everything you say, everything you do, like, oh yeah, well, that sounds great. Oh my God, interesting. Oh, wow, what a great, oh my God, great. How much is that? Oh, $300 a minute, great. How do I hit my credit? Now, by the way, who's ever got one of those? Yeah. We get those. The problem is those automatic, easy, objectionless closes when everything you say and do is their yes machines, okay, they're few and far between. What typically happens is you would love, and let's just face it, we all love those, I love those, you would love to keep them on the straight line, you're presenting, they're listening and agreeing, no objection, and boom, they buy. But what typically happens is they try to take you off the straight line. They have questions, they have interruptions, they have concerns. So you want to keep them on the straight line. They try to kick you off the straight line. So what you have are these healthy boundaries above and below the line. Inside these boundaries, you are in control. You're in control of the encounter. And that means that you're talking about things that are relevant to the conversation. It doesn't necessarily mean a lot of the time you're listening because you asked a question, because you're gathering intelligence to try to identify what their needs are, their values, their pain points. So you ask a question, watch. When you ask a question, you're on the line. You're directly on the line. And then you wait for a response, and the prospect starts to answer you. You're still off the line, but inside the boundaries. This is healthy, right, and good, and what occurred. It's because in these boundaries, you are gathering intelligence and also simultaneously building rapport. What I want to teach you in straight line at a higher level is that it's through this process of asking people questions that you actually build rapport with them. When you walk in someone's house, oh my God, oh, nice plant, good. Oh my God, favorite plant, what the fuck is that plant, right? Oh my God, what a nice branch that is. It's the greatest branch. And then you spend 30 minutes talking about the fucking branch because you think that's building rapport, but that's repulsive to people. That's not rapport. People are smarter than that, okay? So what typically happens is salespeople, they sabotage by trying to build rapport in the most unhealthy of ways by talking about the price of tea in China, politics in America, the fish on the fucking wall. Let me say if there's a fish on the wall, don't talk about the fucking fish. Every other salesperson is talking about the fish. Don't do that. Rapport, real rapport, is developed when two things are being felt by the prospect. Number one, they feel that you care. You care about them, meaning you're not there to just make a sale. You actually care about them. Wow, what a concept. If they actually think that and feel it, what does that mean? That means they're gonna trust you, but in terms of rapport, you care. And number two, you're just like them. Now watch. I don't mean, oh my God, you like fishing? No, I don't mean that. You speak in the same rate of speech. You listen, you mirror their body language the same way. You have interest for the things they say. You, oh yeah, got ya, I'm exaggerating, but let me tell you something. The worst, I've done trainings for very large companies. They call me in to really train them over time. And I'll videotape salespeople, and you watch them going through an intelligence gathering session before they train, and they'll say, so how long have you owned this house for? And the guy says, 7 years. And how many children do you have? 3 children. What school district do they go to right now? What's your ag? And you know what? How much rapport they have? 0. And they're fucking done. You can't influence someone. You can't close them. And when I say influence, what I really mean, move them to a higher level of certainty. That's what influence is. You're moving them to a higher level of certainty, right? You can't do that when you're out of rapport. They shut down. You can't close someone when you're out of rapport with them. And rapport is not a constant. So you can't just like, okay, I'm in rapport and I could be an asshole. Rapport goes up and down throughout an entire conversation. Have you ever watched a political debate? There's some coming up right now. Doesn't matter who you like, hey, irrelevant. But the point is, very often you'll see at the bottom of the screen, they have the audience with like thumb, yes, no. And based on what the person's saying in that moment in time, they say, is the audience connecting or not? You know what I'm talking about, right? There's music. And you watch when a politician lies, like the fucking thing out of rapport. They'll say things that they agree with, it goes back in. You understand? That's how rapport actually is. It's based on the last thing that you said to someone and all the things that you said and they felt before. It's a constant evolving thing. Rapport must be established instantly and then built on and protected at all costs. So if you find yourself falling out of rapport, you just keep plowing forward. You have to stop, get back in rapport, and then keep moving forward. Easy to do, but you got to understand how to do it and when it's happening. Sharp as attack, enthusiastic, an expert in your field. It opens up the possibility for what? For you to take control of the conversation. When we take control, what it doesn't mean, and what most people think it means is wrong, is that you talk. No. When you take control, what you do is you take immediate control by being perceived a certain way, sharp, on the ball, enthusiastic, and expert, so people defer, and you use that opportunity to do what? To start asking questions. You take immediate control, and of course, I'll tell you how to do that. There's a way to do it. You take immediate control, and then you use that control not to become a talking head, because that will break rapport and you'll be done. We use that opportunity to start asking very smart questions to people. And as they respond, we're like, and you're through this, what's called unconscious communication. Those little grunts and groans on the phone, body language, both in person or in Skype, you get massive rapport going with people, and you build on that rapport. In fact, when you are gathering intelligence the right way, which means you're being perceived as the trusted advisor, a family friend, someone that has their best interest on, versus the grand inquisitor that's giving them a cross-examination, which breaks rapport, you're the trusted advisor or the family physician. That I'm an expert at what I do. I'm asking you these questions because I need to know this. Because if I don't know this, I can't help you solve your problem and get you what you need. Which is a feeling of being back in control of your life financially, so you can have the freedom to do whatever you want and so forth. That's what experts do. You need to be perceived as an expert. So, getting back to this whole idea now, right? So when you're in control of the sale, you're inside the line. When you are out of control, the prospect is now they're in control, Out of control, they taking control. You're spiraling off to Pluto up here, or down here to your anus. Not good places to be, either of them. At least for most of them, fine, okay? But either way, okay? When you're outside the line, the boundaries here, that means the sales are out of control. What typically happens is this, is you get what is called compound answers. You'll ask someone a question, okay? You'll ask them a question. So tell me, how, what kind of work you're doing right now? How long, and they'll start answering. They'll say, oh, I'm working right now as an advisor for blah, 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 blah. They start telling you, and then something triggered in their mind. They say, well, I used to be something. Then my little kid played soccer, and we had to move here for soccer, and they start spiraling out. And next thing you're like, soccer? Oh my God, I played soccer. And you spend 30 fucking minutes talking about Lionel Messi and soccer. What's your favorite soccer team? Oh my God, I love the Argentinians. They're so great. And you spend 30 minutes talking about soccer because what happened was they spiraled off to Pluto and you jumped in because the water was warm in their nightmare. You jumped in one part of the nightmare and you spiral out of control because you think you're building rapport, but what it's proving is you're not an expert. Because an expert would not spend 30 minutes talking about nonsense. An expert has other things to do. Experts are there to solve your problems. Their time is valuable. They're going to be polite. So what you're not going to do is you say, so how long are you living in the area for? They say, oh, I've been there for 5 years. I used to live over in a different part of town, and that's still okay. And then we decided to move, and then I got here, and this is like this great restaurant. I love this Italian food. Oh, my, which restaurant you love? Oh, God, it's the best one. Marty's is the best restaurant. Which dish do you get? You're fucking speaking about lasagna. Next thing you know, for 20 minutes, right? That's spiraling off. Now, what you can't say to someone is they'll say, yeah, I moved here, and I love the restaurant. I started eating it. Well, hey, stop. You're off in fucking Pluto, ma'am. I'm a straight line salesperson. You have to stay in the boundaries here. And I don't give a fuck about what restaurant you eat at. I'm here to gather intelligence so I can close you. Stay inside the fucking now. Now I'm asking you, where do you live? That's not going to work very well, will it, right? No, you're going to break rapport, right? Seriously. So you can't say, stop fucking rambling, mister. I don't give two shits that you like to fly fighter planes with your kid playing soccer. Irrelevant to me. I'm here to sell you a trading system. That's not going to work, right? So how do you do this? Because people do this all the time. It's the norm. The norm when you gather intelligence, the norm is people will answer your question and they'll start spiraling off the Pluto. That's what they do. So what you do is you actively listen, and let them spit out. You listen actively with your grunts and groans, showing that you understand, it's interesting, you care, you feel their pain, you're excited, you understand them, and when they're done spitting out, you're like, oh wow, it's totally awesome. Now, as far as, and you go right back to the next question on the straight line, and you take back control of the sale, and you continue moving forward on the line. If you just do this, guys, you'll start closing more sales. Not spiraling off to Pluto. Because what it shows is you're an expert. And when people perceive you, they will start asking you honestly, forthrightly, right? So the straight line, what it represents essentially is the order in which you go about creating certainty. It's the order in which you go about creating certainty. Now, what did I say? I said you go get them absolutely certain about the product. So let's say you do that, guys. This is very important now, right? Moving on to a new subject here. Let's say you do that. Let's say you get them to an absolute 10 about your product. They entered at a 5, right? They were kind of, all right, sounds decent, right? And when you're done, now they're saying, fuck, this sounds good. Damn, what not good? Oh my God, they're at an absolute 10 now. Question, will they buy from you, yes or no? If you ask them to buy, they can afford it. They can afford your product. They're a qualified buyer, and now they're at an absolute 10. Will they buy, yes or no? Yes. The answer is maybe. Maybe they will, and maybe they won't. Because let me ask you this. What if in the process of moving them from a 6 to a 10, you said something or did something, and the way you did it made them not trust you? Would they buy from you? No. Not in a million fucking years. We don't buy from people we don't trust, and we very seldom buy from those we don't like. So it's not enough that you get them to attend about the product. They must also be at a 10 for you, the salesperson, the person presenting the idea. If they're not, what do they say? They say, bing, and now here we go. And now comes the truth of what are all the common objections? When someone says, let me think about it, what they're saying is, I'm not, maybe, I'm not certain. Is it about the product? Is it about you?
You.
Who knows? How the fuck do you know? You don't know yet. You don't know. But let's just say you get them to an absolute 10 about the product, and you also get them to an absolute 10 about you, the salesperson. So when they're done, they're like, fucking damn. And so what does the 10 sound like? For a salesperson, they say, oh, what do you think of that person? They are the best, most trustworthy salesperson. I never felt so comfortable, so empowered. I really felt like they had my best interest in it. They explained things to me slowly. Wow, it was a really positive experience. I'm really glad. I would never deal with any other person than them. That's 10. Pretty good, right? What do you think of that salesperson? What a fucking slimy piece of shit they were. I swear to God, I would never give them my credit card because they'll probably steal the fucking number and charge shit on it, okay? I know that shit. I would never leave them in my fucking house alone. They're assholes. They give me all half-truths. They would talk me too fast. They were dodging my questions. What does someone do when they're at an absolute 10 for the product and they're at a 4 for the sales? What do they do for the 4, 10? What do they do?
Buy from someone else.
Bingo. They buy from someone else. They'll find someone else selling the same thing as you and buy from them. You did all the work, you made them absolutely certain they buy from someone else. Happens all the time. All the time. So let's just say now, let's say you didn't make that mistake. Let's say you did it right. Right? Let's say you got them to an absolute 10 about the product and an absolute 10 about you. Now will they buy? Yes or no?
Maybe.
Get it now. The answer is maybe. Why? Because what if they don't trust the company that stands behind this product? There's got to be in this case, it really matters a lot. There's an organization. There's a company that's going to deliver the education. That's going to help them do the trading. There's a support. What if they don't? Will they buy? No way. Now, at some level, the product and the company are somewhat, they're very much intertwined. And that's often the case. But they're distinct things. The product, per se, here is the actual efficacy. Do the algorithms work? Will they make you money? Does the training, educational side, is it user-friendly? Can I use it and learn what I need to learn, know what I need to know? That's the actual product side. The company side is, are they going to help me if something goes wrong? Are they going to be there to help me understand if I know about a problem? How's the customer service? What's the long-term relationship like? Are they good corporate citizens? Are they good people? Are they a trustworthy company? What are other people saying about them? What are the owners like? What are their names? What do they stand for? What's their mission? What's their vision? Different, so it's different. They relate, but they're different. What I've just said to you in a very roundabout and profound way is that essentially what is happening here, when you're moving someone down the straight line from the open to the close, what you're looking to do is corral a 10, 10, 10 in a single moment and time. A single moment in time. 10 meaning number one, they must love the product. Number two, they must trust and connect with you, the second 10. Third 10, they must trust and connect the company that stands behind the product. You're looking to corral, meaning gather at a single moment in time. 10, 10, 10, and ask for the order in that moment in a very simple, low pressure, but very profound way. You say, give me one shot, and believe me, you're going to be very glad you did. Sound fair enough? And you shut the fuck up. If you do that, and you ask you to calm down, John, give me one shot, and believe me, you'll be very impressed. Sound good? What the fuck? No, holy shit, no. So if you got someone to a 10, 10, 10, but did that, wow, you'd break rapport, their second 10 would drop, they'd be nervous. No, no. So give me one shot, and believe me, Jim, in 6 months from now, okay, the only problem is that you didn't get this started 6 months earlier because you'd already have all of this sorted out. You'd be swimming in money. Does that sound fair enough? Right? Now, that last tonality was called the reasonable man tone. The first tonality was called certainty. Jim, you give me one shot and believe me. That's utter sincerity. Jim, you give me one shot, look at my body. You give me one shot and believe me. You're going to be very, very impressed. Sound fair enough? I'm reasonable. The unspoken words that you are hearing right now are, I'm reasonable, you're reasonable, and you know the golden rule, right? Do unto others when others do nice things to you, right? It's the golden rule. Well, you know, I'm reasonable, you're reasonable, so I just gave you this incredible value proposition. You're at a 10, 10, 10, so you love the product, you trust me, you trust me, so sound good. They'll say, yeah, sure, why not? Why wouldn't they say good? You're leading them 10, 10, 10 in a single moment in time. Remember those words, in a single moment in time, and you ask for the order using what's called a tritonal closing pattern, certainty into sincerity into the reasonable man. Give me one shot and believe me, Jim, your wife will be kissing you when she walks in the door. Sound good? And shut the fuck up. And he who speaks first or she speaks first loses, okay? Now, listen to this, right? It's interesting here, right? So you do that in a single moment in time. What does that mean? Well, what it means is that certainty wanes. I said it before. Quickly, I added something in. I said, guys, you know, a 10 represents a state of what? A conviction. An unwavering conviction. If I get you to a 10, let's say right now, who believes the straight line's kick-ass? Raise your hand, right this moment. Guess what? In 2 hours from now, you won't be as certain. Not because I did anything wrong or because you're overly skeptical and because it's any less great than it is. It's human fucking nature. We get very certain about something and then instantly, almost in seconds, seeds of doubt starts to creep back in, and our certainty is like on something, one of those, time bombs. You know, it's like in Bugs Bunny or one of the cartoons, like they have a tick, 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 it keeps ticking faster, it's about to explode. It's like a decaying tube, and certainty starts to wane until it falls off a cliff. With time, time is your enemy here. Every moment before you actually get this contract signed when they were certain, it's like decaying certainty. You're always fighting natural decaying certainty. And for this very reason, we engage in a straight line technique called looping. What looping is the process by which we take an objection and we use it as an opportunity to build more certainty for 1, 2, or all 3 of the 3 tens, and then seamlessly transition into a close without breaking rapport. Let me repeat. Looping is the process by which we take any one of the common objections. For example, someone says, let me think about it. Let me think about it is a smokescreen for uncertainty. Someone says, I'm not, let me think about it. Saying, well, I need to find out more to make myself more certain. Someone says, let me call you back. They're saying, I need to call you back because I have to either speak to someone else, do research further to make myself more certain. Someone says, I want to speak to my friend or my broker or expert to make myself always certainty, guys. I'm short of cash, I'm not liquid right now, meaning that I can't afford to lose money. I better be sure I'm right here. I gotta be certain. I asked someone for the order, and in that moment, in their mind, what they're really feeling is, you know, sounds really good so far. Seems to make sense. But I don't know for sure. And I don't know this fucking person. I know a little bit. And I don't know. What the fuck do I? They're a salesman. Sure, they want to just make a fucking commission, right? I don't fucking know. Company, I don't know. What do they say? They don't say, hey, Jordan, I don't trust you. Sorry, I think your idea is shit. Also, I love that, by the way. Just imagine how great, imagine how easy it would be to sell if you asked someone for the order and they said, oh, no, I'm at a 7 only for you. I'm not, can you say more things to make me more certain? And I need, and also I'm at an 8.4 on the company. I need a little bit there too. And pretty good, actually give me 2 more points on the product. So I can get to a 10, then I can buy. I said, fuck, thank you. But no, they don't say that because you don't get taught, that's rude. I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Them fucking fighting words, right? You don't trust me, fuck you. Like, how do you say so? I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I think your product is, I don't know. Yeah, you say it's great. I don't know. How do I know? Every salesman says, now, that's pretty aggressive in your face. We've been taught societally, it's not nice to do. So what do we say? Yeah, it sounds good. Let me think about it. Oh yeah, typical. Right, yeah, sounds good. I'll call you back. We get smoke screens because it's an easy, low, non-confrontational way for someone, meaning a prospect, to exit out of the conversation without getting into a knockdown, drag-out fight of, what do you mean you don't think it's as good as I do? Let me tell you why you're wrong. If they were to tell you the truth about how they were really feeling, what are they doing? They're opening themselves to be what? Sold even harder. Oh, you don't trust me? Let me tell you why you should. You don't like my product? Let me tell you more about that. That's not a way to, if I say I don't trust you, is that going to end the sale? No, it's going to force you. Well, why not? Let me tell you about my, what do you mean I'll show you? I'm a great person. Right? So what people do is they use the circuit. It's a circuit breaker. Objections are like circuit breakers. They pop, fuse pops, it dissipates the confrontation. Here's what happens. You go through a sale with someone and the front half, meaning everything that happens from the first moment that you open up your mouth, all the way to the time before you ask for the order, it's collaborative. It's a collaboration. You're educating them, they're answering your questions. Yeah, you're right. And then you ask for the fucking order, and all of a sudden, that collaboration turns into confrontation. Because now you're asking them to take an action and part with their hard-earned money, and suddenly all the goodwill that you've built up here, all the rapport that you've achieved here during this period of collaboration goes down the fucking toilet in an instant when they say, sounds good, let me think about it. You say, well, what do you need to think about? And you start trying to butt heads with them to convince them what you're saying is, if someone says, I want to think about it, and you try to say, well, what do you mean no? And you start trying to go at the objection directly, what you're saying is, you're wrong, I'm right. Meaning, I'm telling you my thesis. Watch, this is important, guys. My thesis is that it makes sense for you to buy now. For all the reasons I'm saying, it makes sense for you to give me your credit card number, pay the money, and do this today. And they're saying, no, 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 I don't agree. It's like an argument in some sense. I don't agree. I need to know more. I need to wait. I want to think of all this stuff. No, and so if you try to directly overcome that by saying, what do you need to think about? What did I miss? What more can I tell you? What's wrong? Why don't you want to buy now? You break rapport. It's an instant, massive, sometimes irreparable break of rapport.
Because what you're saying to them is, you're wrong. I'm right. You should not be thinking about it right now. And you say, what is it? What do you want to think about? Tell me what you need to hear here. Like, it's only all these different ways about so-called rebutting objections. They're irrelevant, guys. I have a manual that has at least a minimum of 30 rebuttals for every objection. If they say they want to talk to their wife, I'll give you 30 plus ways. Seriously, I have it, I sell it. It's important to know it. 30 plus ways. They say they want to think about it, I'll give you 55 ways. If they want to call back, it's 48 ways. How do you answer that? And you know what? If someone says, let me think about it, and you try to rebut the objection with that rebuttal, the chances that you close them are what? 0. Why? Because that's not their real objection. It's a smoke screen for what? Uncertainty. Uncertainty. If you try to rebut someone's objection, they say they want to think about it. You say, Jim, I'm doing this for a long time. I understand you want to think about it, but I know you're busy, I'm busy, and we'll probably never speak about it again. We'll be 2 ships passing in the night, Jim, and I don't want it to happen. I know you need this. I don't want you to miss out. Give me one shot, Jim, and believe me, you're going to be very impressed. You can't give me a shot here. You got like no shot of closing the person. Why? Because his real objection is not that he wants to think about it. His objection is, I'm not certain about which of the 3 10s.
You don't fucking know.
Who knows? So what do? Very simple. We act the same way every time. We're in control of the encounter. So what do? Someone says, I want to think about it. I said, I hear what you're saying, Jim. Let me ask you a question. Does the program make sense to you? Do you like the program? What's my tonality? Well, Jim, do you like the program? They're like, they'll say, well, I don't fucking know. I use what's called a money aside, hypothetical approach, tonality. Money aside, hypothetical tonality, money aside. Listen to my tonality and tell me if you don't hear the words. I hear what you're saying, Jim, but let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? You like the idea. What I said to you? No money involved. You know, hypothetically, does the idea. Now, I don't say money aside, because that would turn into an academic exercise. I don't say that. I'm not giving up control. I don't have to say it. I imply it through my tonality, and they hear it anyway. If you say, well, Jim, I hear what you're saying, but does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? Guess what? It's not going to work. Because they're like, oh, yeah, it's all right, I don't know. Instead, I say, Jim, I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? What are they going to say? Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Now, where is that on the, is that a 10? What's that? 6, 5.5, 6.5, right? Somewhere close. You don't need to know exactly where they are, but you know approximately where they are. For the first time, now you're like, finally, I fucking know. Now you know where they are. You're like, that's the problem. They're at a 6. Of course they said, let me think about it. When people say, yeah, it sounds good, who fucking buys? I say, let me ask you, does the idea make sense? Do you like it? They say, yeah, it sounds really good. That's an 8. They might say, yeah, it sounds all right. That's a 4. Doesn't matter where they say they are, where their tonality. See, now I know through their tonal response where they are on the certainty scale for the first 10. I finally know. And I say, now I'm going to roll up my sleeves and do my fucking job. Yeah. Now, and it's from here where I start the fucking sell. Any monkey can read a script and do all this stuff. The front half of the sale is for the fucking week. It's so easy, guys. Anyone can learn to read through a well-constructed and go through a presentation, use the right tonalities, hit the right high notes, ask the right questions, using the right tonalities. I can teach anybody that, and I do. And I also can teach anybody the back half too. But the back half of the sales where the rubber meets the fucking road. That's where it happens. It happens when they say, let me think about it. I'm like, now I'm going to fucking earn my paycheck. And the way I do that is how? The same way every fucking time. The reason every sale is the same is because I'm doing it the same way every time. Why? Because I'm in control. If they were in control, guess what would happen? I'm a fucking outmatched boxer covering up from the blows. Here's what made me invent the straight line. Now I'll go back to the first night. Here's what happened. What clicked in my head that night was not that they said there was 1,000 objections. One of them said, we can't even get our pictures off. We keep getting interrupted. We're cutting us off. Guess what? That was not happening to me. People didn't cut me off. You know why? Because there was something that was coming across right out of it. I had a certain way of sounding on the phone and a certain way of appearing and talking in person that within those first few seconds, they're like, this is not the fucking average bear. This is not the average person I speak to. He sounds different. He sounds better. He's on the ball. This guy's fucking sharp. And you know what I'm hitting? I'm hitting what's called an unconscious pattern they're running. Unconscious pattern. The brain, the human brain, the all-powerful computer, it's got two sides. It's got a conscious awareness and an unconscious awareness. Our conscious brain, our conscious side, is our immediate, what we're focusing on in the moment. That's your conscious brain. It has a very small, finite amount of processing power. It's the equivalent of RAM, random access memory on a computer. What happens when the computer is maxed out of random access? What happens? You get a what? A spinning wheel of death. A little wheel. Nowadays we get it less. It still gets sometimes. I had to reset my fucking computer. I maxed out my memory. I had too many screens open. And the wheel starts to spin. The computer's thinking. It's ran out of memory, short-term memory. But what there is still an unexhaustible is what your hard drive. Hard drive is massive and can be unlimited in the cloud. You can just, there's unlimited, unconscious, or long-term disk, the hard drive. It's the RAM, the random access memory, that's limited. Same thing goes with the human brain. Our conscious awareness is limited. It can only handle 4%. This is true, it's been proven scientifically. 4%. Right now, you're hearing my voice, you're watching me, you're analyzing, and as I'm speaking, you're saying things about, that makes sense. Ooh, that was good. Okay, okay. Meanwhile, so you're zeroing on that, you're making sense of that, you're analyzing it, but you don't feel the wind on your skin. You don't feel the pressure of the seat on your ass. Now you do. Now you're aware of it. Your heart's still beating. Your skin is still dilating, maintaining 98.6, and you're breathing at the exact right rate to make sure you have enough oxygen to feed all muscles, your brain, and your heart. That's all happening because of what? Your unconscious mind. That happens up here. Your autonomic nervous system. 4% of what you see, you are analyzing and remembering for a short term. The rest is not lost. It goes into your unconscious, where our unconscious mind forms patterns. We form patterns in order to make sense of the world. It's why I walk up to that door and I see that little knob there. I don't have to say, what if I open that door, am I going to enter a different universe? Or is it going to be Florida still? I've never went through that door before. But I have an area in my brain that says, rectangular shapes with handle, equal door, safe to cross in non-military situations. Think about it. You think a Navy SEAL just come out from Iraq is walking out that door? He's fucking on the other side. I might get blown up. It's called PTSD. And our brain forms different patterns now. We can no longer, you understand what happens? Yeah. Patterns of behavior. Everything is patterns. It's the reason why you don't have to stop at every crack in the soil. Am I going to fall to the center of the earth there? It's a fucking crack. You haven't seen every crack pattern. Crack patterns, right? Everything, guys, is patterns. As salespeople, we use these patterns for incredible advantage. Because guess what? There's a pattern called expert in their field. It's a pattern that we've developed. We all know what experts are supposed to look like and sound like, and we know what they don't look like and sound like. How you sound, how you dress, how you talk. What you're looking to do, the tonalities you use, the words that you say, the way in which you say them, the way you carry yourself and dress and look, everything from your hair to your jewelry, everything is designed to hit a certain pattern. That pattern is expert in her field, expert in his field. When you hit that pattern, what happens? Everything they've seen and heard from the time you went to a doctor when you were 4 years old says, we defer. When your parents took you to the doctor, you've been conditioned since you were yay big to seek out experts in their field. And you notice that when you went to the doctor, even your own parents, who are almost godlike when you're that small, even they would defer to the doctor. You waited in the room, they'd wait sometimes a long time. This is a special man or woman. She'd been to university. She learned everything there was to know about making sick people feel better. So we go there and we walk in. There's diplomas on the wall. They have a special white coat. They have a stethoscope around the neck. And when that doctor starts asking you questions, what do? You answer them honestly. You answer them forthrightly because they've earned the right to do that. Now, most of you are very young. You're in for a rude awakening, guys. You are in for a very rude awakening when it comes to doctors. Because when you get to my age, when you go to the doctor, he's going to all say, well, bend over and stick my finger up your asshole. Okay? And you know what you do? I just had it. That doctor still finger up my ass. It was like last week. He's like, all right, guys, just take the glove off. Oh, fuck, here comes the glove, all right? You're over 50 years old, they're going to stick their finger up your butt, right? And you know what you do? You know what you do? You bend over and you fucking say, ah, cheese, right? Why? Because they've been to fucking medical school. They've earned the right to stick their finger in your ass. Can I ask you a question? What would you do? What would you do? You'll never forget this. You'll never forget this speech. What would you do if they said, oh yeah, my assistant's going to come, who's just the medical assistant guy's coming, he's going to stick his finger in your butt instead. What do you say? You haven't earned the right to stick your finger in my asshole. Only the doctor can. He's been through all the years of school. And you're not sticking your finger unless it was the nurse, then maybe I'll see. Okay. Yeah. The point is, unless it was a really good looking nurse, I'm not going to stick a finger in my ass. Okay? That's just me. Yeah. Everyone get what I'm saying? We defer when we're asked questions. We answer honestly. We answer forthrightly. We don't cut them off. We don't. So that's just how long's it bothering you? How long's it bothering you, doc? You don't do that. The conditioning continued when you got older. When you were in school and you needed help in a subject, you got a what? A tutor. When you played a sport, they hired you a coach. You were taught not to talk back to your coach or your tutor. They were experts. They were trained. They'd earn the right because they're there to make your life better, teach you, improve you, help you resolve a pain point. When you get older and you get in trouble, you go to a lawyer. I know all about that shit, right? And when the lawyer tells you what's going on, you talk to them. You don't say, don't fucking tell me you. You must be perceived as an expert. Without that, guess what happens? The prospect takes control. And what was happening to my Strattonites is they sounded like kids because they were kids. They were uneducated. I was very educated. I was also a natural born closer knows this intuitively. See, natural born closers, for whatever reason, their brain is wired a certain way. They intuitively know they have to sound a certain way. They know they have to hit all 3 tens, and they will. They're running the straight line without even running. They don't know it. They're using the straight line. You know when a great natural closer reads my book, they'll say, holy fuck. Now I know why I'm so great. They don't say, I never had a great salesman go through my stuff and say, I don't agree. Never, not once in my whole life. Even Moron Cardone couldn't say that. But the point was, no, seriously, you just tried to be an idiot. But the point was, how could it's a truth about selling straight lines. Whether they know it or not, they're using it. All great salesmen loop. They automatically loop. When they're hit with an objection, they loop back because they know that people need to hear more to become more certain. What the straight line allows anyone to do is even if you're not an actual forecloser, you can sell just like me at just as high a level. And you can get to the point I'm at. You will close anyone who's close. When I leave a sale, do you think I close everyone? No. I don't close everyone I speak to, but I never walk out of a sale thinking, look, if someone else was there, they could have closed. And that never thought occurs to me. And because of that, I know that if I put in the hard work, I'll get the outcome I want. Once you get to that point, you'll see, you'll become so easy. Not only just make more money because you're close more, but you'll work harder. It becomes like a feeding frenzy of success, and it builds on itself, and it builds on itself. I had kids that were like 19 years old. They've been working like in a pool hall or something. The kid makes $7 million his first year. He went and learned to straight lines and just apply it at the highest level, worked his ass. It's possible. Every industry has its own metrics of how much you can make. You know what the great thing is? You're in an industry. I'm going to give you some good news. You want good news? You're all over fucking paid. You are.
Say that again.
You're all, no, it's the truth. You're overpaid. You know why? You're overpaid just like Wall Streeters are overpaid. And real estate agents. You take the same salesperson who's working the same number of hours, the same amount of talent, and put them into selling drain pipes, they'll make $92,000 a year.
Wow.
The same person selling mortgages will make $450, real estate $850, and Wall Street $1.5 million. Every industry has its own pay matrix. One thing I'll say about this is fact, guys, and take it because I know. This industry you're in, you're over fucking paid. And that's nothing to be ashamed about. That's a good thing.
Fuck yeah.
And you never know how long it's gonna last. You don't. So what does that mean you do? You make hay when the sun is shining, guys. Right now, the sun is shining on your business. Yes. Everything is happening. COVID-19 has wiped people out. Good luck if you own the restaurant right now. But what are you saying? I'm just here to work from home, sit down. Dude, it couldn't be better than what you guys are selling right now. What you're selling is timely. It works. It's easy to get started. The income is limitless. It allows you to transition from a life of boredom and tediousness and averagism with no end in sight, where you're going to end up dying broke, probably in a nursing home, getting fed soup through a straw in your diapers, getting bitch slapped with the nurses in a bad mood. That's what most people are ending up. Seriously. Most people's lives are not going to end well. You know, most people are going to die fucking broke. Anyone here that you think you're going to die broke? No, you know why? Because you're fucking closers. And you found the right product to sell. That's the second part. I know a lot of great clothes out there that sell the wrong fucking thing. You know, I own a recruiting agency. So I own a recruiting agency. I recruit salespeople for companies. Companies pay me. My business is not, I say trade salespeople, but what I mostly do, my real money, this year I'll do probably $1 billion in my business. This year I'll do $1 billion and probably make $500 million in income this year. Yeah. In my recruiting business, $500 million this year. You know why I'm here tonight? You know why I'm here? Gas for my jet. Where's my assistant? Yeah. I'm not kidding. I charge $100,000 a night for this shit. You know what I'm here? I said, what's my jet? $25,000. Give me $20,000. I'll fucking go give me a speech to pay for the gas in my fucking jet. Because I'm looking for a house, a $30 million house on the beach here, which I saw today. If I get a big offer tomorrow for a home here, I'm moving there because I don't pay fucking California taxes anymore. So I'm moving to Florida. So I'm here looking at homes. I fucking have a jet. It costs $30,000 fucking in gasoline. I say, go give me the fucking money. Matt, my guys, I go buy myself a. I would never do this. Pay for my gas in my jet. Okay. I'm saying that to impress you and tell you that the bottom line is that there's two ways to go through life. All right? You know, it's like to go through life passively or fucking actively. What are you speech tonight? What was the speech tonight? Hey, what? Yeah, the jet. Private jet. We flew a private jet. Okay, so I won't fly a commercial plane. All right, I refuse to fly commercial. I only fly private. All right, I'm saying if I get fucking gasoline, good for that, you know. And helping, I love you guys. By the way, I love this is like to me. This is it's not work. This is fun. This is fun.
Jordan, tell us you're not leaving.
My business is recruiting. Listen, my business is recruiting. I recruit people and companies, everyone big companies like Oracle, like, you know, down to small companies like just people that are in logistics or solar or you name it, big to small. They hire me because I go out there and I have hundreds of recruiters, hundreds that work for me, and they get people jobs. Do you know the average salesperson that first year makes like $50,000? $50,000. 60. Great job, 80,000 with commission. That's a great job, and I can fill those jobs all year long, hundreds of thousands of them. Really, that's great. And those are great jobs. And then there's some industries though where there's just a lot more money. Who's here for that first year now? Raise your hand. Who's first year? What are you gonna plan on making your first year?
50K.
50K. What are you gonna plan on making for you? 50K. Who else? Who's gonna make the first year? Who else is first year? Year one. Raise your hand. So, what are you gonna make the first year? 40. Okay. Who else? Who else wants it? What are you gonna make your first year?
100K.
100K. Okay, guys. I'll tell you something. When you're out there, okay, selling, and is this your only job? Your only job, okay? How many hours a week you work? Okay.
Easily 100.
Great. I want you to make more than that this year. There's no reason that you can't make more than that. And here's what I want everyone to do, okay? I want you, as a religion here, to make 100,000 your first year as par. Anything less than that is unacceptable. I'm dead serious, guys. I want you to start thinking bigger.
If I'm being honest, they meant a month.
We meant monthly.
If I'm being honest, they meant a month.
A month.
Monthly, yes.
No joke.
Thank God. I'm just getting nervous here, right?
Yeah, no,
We get back to reality
Now
now.
50K a year. That's, if you make 50K a year, you're not in this room. If you make 50K a year, you're not in this room. So a month.
Hey, so I'll change my answer. 600K.
You see the mistake? I knew the answer before, so I was so confused. I asked.
Yeah.
Because
He was looking at me. He was like, I said, speak up, bro. There's not no 50K a year. You're in the wrong room.
I was getting nervous.
Come on, no.
I was trying because he paid me to make you guys feel good. Make 100 grand. Make 100 grand this year. Idiots, by the way. You're morons. 100,000 this year. Good fucking Lord, guys. Come on. You need to. This is not a normal situation. It's not. I knew that. I was so confused for a second. What the fuck happened here, right? The truth came out. No. So let me get back to what I was saying. My point was, let me ask you again, how much are you going to make this year? 200,000, okay? How much are you going to make this year?
500.
500,000. How much?
1.8 mil.
Okay, 1.8 million. Do you understand this is not the real world? You understand? Now, I don't mean this in a bit, smarter or stupider than any other salesman I train. Seriously. You're not the greatest gifted salesperson. You're great salespeople. And seriously, the point is this is a great opportunity. You understand? You can work just as hard in another opportunity and make 1/10 as much. Thank your lucky stars you are where you are. But there's an obligation that goes along with that. There's an obligation. When you're in a room like this, of people that are high earners, that are big producers, if you're not chasing and nipping their tails, you're bringing them down. You owe it to the person sitting next to you as much as yourself to push to the next level, wherever you are, because you drive him, drives her. You get it? It's like you feed on each other. If you settle for anything less than unbelievable excellence. You're taking money out of each other's pocket. There's a certain energy. I know from my own business that there's an energy that develops when everyone is making big money together. You push each other. You set higher goals. The first thing I said is, what's the next level up? And I started giving you just some tidbits of some training tonight that will allow you, the strategy will allow you to be more effective so you can close at a higher level, and then you combine that with even more hard work and better strategy. You could literally take this and add a zero onto your income. Someone in this room, mark my words, someone's gonna make, in the next 2 to 3 years, someone's gonna have a $10 million year. I'm certain of that. I fucking bank it.
It's already happening, brother.
I would not be surprised, right? It wouldn't surprise me. And that is fucking fantasy land outside of this place. It's not real, but it's real because what you have is opportunity, meaning hard work and training, and collective passion. You guys have a passion and a vision. It's a collective vision. You're gonna work as a team and as a group and fucking kick fucking ass. Don't take this, don't take this for granted. I don't know how long it's gonna last. 3 years, 5 years, pace, doesn't matter. Because you can only control one thing, what you do when? Day. So when that sun shines, like it is now, the way it is right now, you work fucking I would literally work 7 days a week. I would be literally, your age, there should be nothing you're doing but this. Non-stop. And you fucking sprint until you fucking drop dead, and then you sprint again. And when you're feeling bad, the person next to you lifts you up. You don't fucking stop. And then finally, one day you'll slow down. Whoa, things just change. You'll have so much fucking money, you'll have fuck you money. The best advice I could give you. All right? I don't know how long it's going to last. It'll last for a while because you're riding a wave. But you owe it to yourselves. You owe it to your families. You should help the people you love, your parents. What you can do for your parents and your neighbor, people, the neighbors you grew up with, you owe it to yourselves to burn fucking right. One of the smartest things I ever heard in my life was Nelson Mandela. He said there's no nobility in playing small. He was talking to the kids from South Africa. You owe it to yourselves, your families, your communities to play fucking big. To shoot for the fucking stars and nothing less. And you spread the wealth around. Be generous, be ethical. You give back, take care of those that took care of you, I'm telling you, and you'll have a first-class fucking life. Be the person that donates to the hospital or whatever it's got to be, but get fucking rich. That's the only way to fucking live. Bottom line. I love you all, guys, and thanks for tonight. It was awesome.
Got one question.
Guys, real quick.
Never heard that before.
Can you, guys, with all honesty, it's very seldom that we're given honest information the way we're just given, with no intention, with no agenda other than to pay for gas for a jet. And truth be told, you know the type of energy that we give, you know the type of love that we give, you know the type of admiration that we give to the people that give back to us. And I'll let you guys know right now, what happened tonight will impact the lives, enrich the lives, and educate the lives of how many? 1 million. With that said, I want you guys to understand something, and I mean this. We are privileged to receive this information because access to information changes what? Situations. So I appreciate y'all being attentive. I appreciate you guys being sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, and a figure of authority. Let's give it up for Jordan. You guys just cheered like B-150. Jordan, let's give it up. Team pictures. Squad up. You're fucking legend. Squad up.
Squad up.
Squad up.
Where you want to face it? Wait. Listen, Shorty's in the front. Which way we facing?
Stay there, stay there, stay there. Squat up. Stay there, stay there. Look this way. OT. You bless us?
Stand up. My bad.
One, two, three. The gold team, the gold team. Only for one team. One, two, three.
Oh, we lit. Y'all should have been here. What the fuck y'all doing? Hit chairman right away. Right away.
All right, man, you don't gotta go home, but you gotta get out of here, man. I hope y'all got them nuggets.
Hey, they say we make
Let's
too
go.
much fucking money.
It's recorded? Yeah. All right, man, this will be uploaded. We'll see y'all soon. See y'all at the top because the bottom is way too crowded. Let's go.
Let's go!
Jeez, that's crazy.